Hello everybody and welcome to the final third, and today's video we're going to be doing our Premier League match week 13 reaction to the games, and at the end of the video we will include our Premier League match week 14 predictions, because obviously there's such a short turnover. We're going to have to include both in one video just so we can have time to cover everything. But let's go into the reaction to this match week before we look at the predictions. But before any of that, Al, do you want to reveal the play from the last video?
Yes, it was Xabi Alonso, who is currently managing Real Madrid, and he's doing a pretty good job, to be fair to him. So, yeah, that was the player.
Yeah, very good manager and good player, but he played for Liverpool, so I don't care. All right, let's get into the first game. And the first game was Brentford versus Burnley, and that finished 3-1 to Brentford. We're going to follow the same style we did last time. So let's discuss Brentford first. You know, Brentford looked very dangerous. You know, they won 3-1, and you know, their attack's been very consistent this season. And you look at Thiago, you know, second top goal scorer, only behind Erling Haaland. What do you think Brentford can achieve this year?
Honestly, you never know, really. Their home form at the moment is really carrying them through games. Obviously, another home win for them again. Understandably, it was only Burnley, but you know you can only face what you're coming up against, if you know what I'm saying. Igor Thiago, we just got to talk about him. I know you've mentioned him, but look, he's really replaced Mbeumo and Wissa quite well, I think. You know what I mean? We thought this was going to be a big area that they're going to be like worried about, and he's come in and he's done a great job for them, and he's helped carry them through games, and he scored another 2 goals in this game. And like Carl says, starting to catch up to the robot himself, Haaland. Can he get up there? I don't know. We'll have to see. Obviously, Haaland hasn't really scored many goals recently and stuff, but you know, that we're used to anyway.
When was the last time Haaland scored?
I think it was a couple games, like not last game, but the game before that. Yeah.
That's you know what is that just shows how crazy Haaland is. Like, yeah. We're so used to him scoring every game that when he has like a couple of games where he doesn't score, it's really weird.
Yeah. But no, yeah, Thiago's just trying to give him a run for his money if he can. Would be nice to see, but no, look, he's obviously a really key player for them. And yeah, no, it's good considering obviously they lost Wissam Mbeumo, and not just him, but Ouattara as well, who's come in. You know, they're starting to build up a bit of a partnership, so maybe they could be the next Wissam and Mbeumo for Brentford. Obviously, you know, hopefully long may it continue for them. And it just shows their recruitment is absolutely amazing, and is the reason why they're such a well-run club and still in the Premier League and still, you know, challenging for a top position. So yeah, fair enough.
I think you covered it quite well, to be fair. Let's move on to the Burnley side of things. Obviously, Burnley, you know, like most promoted sides, you know, not very good, you know, just not at the level of all the other Premier League teams. You know, they had a relatively decent transfer window. They made a couple of good signings, but you know, even some of them, they've been injured a lot. Like Armando Broja hasn't even played. I haven't even seen him play for Burnley. Yeah, again, it's just another heavy defeat. And do you think that it's sort of there's not really any hope for them anymore? Do you think relegation's you know, imminent?
I wouldn't say that. I think Burnley's home run is not terrible. I think they've actually had a few decent wins under the belt at home. Like right now, the points not looking the best for them. But hey, you could be Wolves and have 2 points. But I think that Burnley are not a terrible squad. I think they didn't do the worst in this game. I think they had a fair bit of possession. You know, had a couple of chances at goal. So it's not like they'll completely sit back and not trying to win the game. So yeah, and they did score again. You know, they scored a penalty. So you know, at least you know, Brentford didn't get a clean sheet. So I feel like, yeah, Burnley are still a very good side, you know, like for a promoted side especially. Like they have given other teams a tough game. Like I still remember in Old Trafford, you know, giving us a very tough game, you know, scoring goals like just out of nowhere. So yeah, I feel like Burnley can have a threat, you know, for other teams, but it's just the lack of quality is not enough to, you know, threaten, you know, good teams at Brentford. Especially at home, Brentford's been really good at home. So yeah, I mean, they've beaten a lot of good teams at home. So when it comes to Burnley, it's not going to be anything special. So yeah, fair play to Brentford. Very good team. Thiago is looking like a very good player as well, just scoring in every game for them. Very crucial play for Brentford. Hopefully an injury doesn't happen to him, because without him, I think Brentford would not be winning the games they are winning right now. So as a Brentford fan, you hope that he stays fit and continues to score goals.
Yeah. Going back to the Burnley side of things, I think the main issue for them is their defence. Going forward, like you say, there's been some goals here and there, but defensively they look absolutely crap, to say the least. But that's just what you sort of come to expect from promoted sides. So, yeah. Let's move on to the next game. It is Manchester City versus Leeds. Man City edge the win 3-2. Very good game for the I would say the neutral, and to be fair, Leeds gave them a very good game. But even though Man City did get the win, it was very close. What do you think Man City's main problem is? Obviously, probably defensively, right?
Yeah, 100%. We don't really expect this from Man City in terms of the defense, but the last couple of seasons, it's really shown that they maybe need to invest a bit more in the defense, and like players like Ruben Diaz is getting on now, and lost a bit of his quality, and. Guardiola still a great defender for them. They obviously signed Kusanov, but hasn't really done what they, hasn't lived up to the hype that they were expecting him to. I guess, and it's just Nico Riley. He's been really great this season, especially at fullback for them. Obviously, he's originally a midfielder, but he's come in and done a great job. Obviously, got another assist. And it definitely is the defense, because going forward they have no problem. They obviously scored 3 goals. Obviously, Haaland's top goal scorer. He's an absolute machine. I know he didn't score in this game, but look, he's still a top player. It's just look, fair play to Leeds. They gave them a good run for their money in this game. Proper gave them a good game. It's pretty unfortunate for Leeds not to get a result out of this. I just wanted to quickly mention about the game. I saw this thing on, I can't remember if it was TikTok or Twitter, but basically this Leeds fan, jumped over the stands or something, got down to the pitch and started screaming at Daniel Farke about making a substitution. It was like, got to bring on Dan James and all this, and they were really frustrated about the substitutions and stuff. So maybe on Leeds side of things, that might be a problem though. Maybe fans believe that he's not playing the best team, possibly. But yeah, I just thought that was crazy when I saw it. But going back to City, I just think defensively is where their problems lie, and I think if they probably will invest in January, and if they solidify that, then I think they could push back to go for the title again.
To be fair, you say that they need to make probably some, because they made that one signing a couple years ago, Laporte, when they won the league. I think was it the first time under Pep? They made that signing, and obviously they went on to be the Centurions. So you never know. But yeah, moving on to the Leeds side of things. I know Ali mentioned sort of kind of an incident that happened. They did obviously lose, but they scored twice at the Etihad and gave Man City a very good game. It shows us a good mentality to have to come back from that position and get obviously not a result but goals. Do you think that it could be a good sign for them potentially to keep them in the league?
100%. I mean, against a team like City, we know they're a very good team. Might not be the most defensively strong team in the league, but City is still one of the best teams in the league, and fair play. They gave them a run for their money, and definitely gave them a good game. Obviously, Donnarumma with a crucial penalty save. That changes games completely. It could either make or break for either team. So the fact that Leeds were getting into the box and trying to create chances and score. Obviously when you get into the box and try to score, potential cases of penalties will happen, and that's what happens when you try and attack teams like that, put them on the back foot and cause pressure. And Leeds did that, but unfortunately they didn't score that penalty. So and obviously if they had scored that penalty, it could have changed the game completely for them. might have shifted momentum onto them. So yeah, I feel like it's certain situations like that is where you got to step up and just take that chance, because you might not get that chance again, and it could completely turn the game on its head. But fair play. I have respect for Leeds in that regard. They played well for what type of team they are, what club they are. They're still a newly promoted side, and they did give City a run for the money. So huge credit to them.
Yeah, fair play to them, and whether they will be able to stay in the league or not, it's kind of hard to say. It's still very tight at the bottom, They're level on points with West Ham. Sorry, Al. Yeah. I don't know, it's still very interesting. The league is still very, very close, The relegation scrap is still close. Even mid-table is very, very close. I mean, still, from about 5th till 15th, there's only 5 points, which is kind of mental, to be fair. So, literally you could lose a game and be down near the bottom, and you can win a game and not be near the top. So that's how the Premier League is right now. So let's see what happens with them. But moving on to the next game. Sunderland versus Bournemouth. Probably the comeback of the weekend. Definitely the comeback of the weekend, I would say. Sunderland were obviously 2-0 down. But, to come back against a side like Bournemouth with the players they have, just shows what the Stadium of Light means for Sunderland. Now, again, we discuss this almost every week because they seem to be getting good results every single week and being in a good position every week. Do we think that Sunderland will do something good? I don't really know what to say because we ask this every week. Do you know what I mean?
I bloody hope so. I'd love to see it. I can't remember the last time we've seen a team come straight up from the Championship and go straight into Europe. It'd be amazing to see. And obviously, like we've said before about promoted teams, they've just come up and gone straight back down. And it's lovely to see a team like Sunderland as well come up, especially because they weren't like one like Burnley and Leeds. They got automatic promotion. They came in through the playoffs just by the skin of their teeth in that final. And how they're doing, so well, better than good amount of the Premier League teams. And yeah, you just see even a game like this just shows how good they are. They didn't give up, came back from 2-0 down against a Bournemouth, who are a very good Bournemouth side. And yeah, it just shows the mentality they have, shows the quality they have. And yeah, obviously we've talked about why Xhaka is a pivotal part of that. And he obviously got an assist, leading up to the comeback for the second goal. And yeah, no, it's just absolutely amazing to see. Shows how hard it is to go to the Stadium Light and get a result. And yeah, long may it continue for them. I hope they can get Europe. And yeah, no, they're just a quality team at the moment. So yeah, it's just great to see. Just great to see.
On the other side of things, Bournemouth have been very poor in the last 4 games. They've got 3 losses and 1 draw. Now, even the draw they got was, quite lucky, to be honest, because they were 2-0 down and they did get a result in the end. But is this a sign now where maybe Bournemouth should start to be worried?
I think so, to be honest. That's not a great record, as you've mentioned, and losing obviously having a 2-0 lead and then losing that completely, it's not a good sign at all. Shows that players are not fully focused and obviously can't kill off the game. We said that at the start. I mean, they lost big players in defence, especially. I mean, Kirkes and Dean Huijsen as well. They went to different clubs. So obviously, when you have 2 very good defenders in your team and they, starting in the starting 11 and they go to a different club, obviously that makes your team a bit weaker. We said at the start of the season that they've replaced them with, players that play in their positions and, have been doing quite well. But I think it's starting to show now that, obviously they are being missed, Kirkes and Dean Huijsen. But it's unfortunate for them because I think that Bournemouth played really well. I think they created a lot of chances. I think they had a lot of chances on goal. But just not been enough to seal the deal, and defensively very weak. So they just got to focus because they've had very heavy defeats in their last 4 games. 3-1 to City, 4-0 to Aston Villa, I think. But only the West Ham game. Yeah, only the West Ham game is where they drew. Yeah.
Bloody shit.
Yeah, no surprises there.
It's just still not great. That's, even to be 2-0 down to West Ham, with all due respect to West
yeah,
Ham.
look, to be fair,
yeah.
they could have won that game if it weren't for the finishing, which is obviously a problem that Hassan's just mentioned. It's clearly a big problem for them. They're not killing off games. They should have definitely won against West Ham, but they didn't. And again, here they managed to drop a 2-0 lead, which is really poor. And yeah, it's just not great, really.
Yeah, in the Prem, you need to have the killer instinct. You can't let teams have a chance to, come back, because we've seen that, how teams easily lose 3 points like that, especially in the last dying embers of the game. So you need to, stay focused from minute 0 to minute 90 and extra time as well. So yeah, once they can solve that issue in defense, I think that Bournemouth will start playing well and getting results. But yeah, it's just not been great for them. It's unfortunate, but it's football. You know what I mean?
When we talk about killer instinct, let's move on to the next game. By the way. Newcastle definitely showed some killer instinct, and they won 4-1 against Everton. Very impressive result. They've been on a very good vein of form recently. 4-1 is nothing to sort of take away from them. It's unbelievable. Some great goals. Voltemada with a beautiful chip. Some might say Pickford and his little arms should have done a bit better. But you know what it was emphatic form, and what's his name? The centre back, Thiaw,
yeah.
You say Thiaw, yeah.
Is it Thiaw?
Okay,
yeah,
Thiaw.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so Thiaw scored 2 goals as well as a centre back. Now he's a player I want to mention because they made that signing this summer, and I think we discussed this over the summer as well. They needed a quick and sort of aggressive centre back, and he is that, and he's doing very well for them. And it seems like now he's embedded. He's doing very well, and now Newcastle doing very well. So, what do you guys think of him?
Yeah, man. The 2 Germans for them are just doing absolutely flipping amazing. Thiaw, 2 goals. Waldemar, another goal. And it was that Waldemar goal. It's so cheeky. And look, I knew they'd win. I said it in the last video, and they've gone and won. Go on the tunes. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so no, it was a brilliant win. Obviously 4-1. I wasn't expecting 4-1. I obviously only predicted 2-1, but that is an absolutely emphatic win for them. And obviously we have to wait and see whether this is a turnaround for them. Obviously we've seen clubs this season do it. Aston Villa, great example. Obviously starting the season off, no goals, no wins, and now look what they're doing. They're third. So hopefully for Newcastle this can be like a bit of a turnaround as well, and maybe they can move up the positions in the league. And yeah, no, Thiaw, we talked like Carlos mentioned, what a signing. You could argue he could be up there as well in the signing of seasons. Obviously I'm not saying top 3 or anything, but definitely up there. Has to be mentioned because he's clearly revolutionized that defense a little. Revitalized maybe is a better word, not revolutionized, but definitely helped them stay in games. Obviously win, score 2 goals. I think he's come up with a good few goals for them so far this season, and yeah, he's just been a brilliant signing for them, and I think it's exactly what they've needed. And yeah, it's just Elanga starting to show his brilliance again. I thought he was pretty good at the start of the season, and I think the only reason he didn't get any assists and goals and stuff like that was more because they hadn't signed a striker at that point. He was making the chances, but no one was on the end of them to finish them. So now that they've got Voltemada and Elanga bringing the chances for him, it's going brilliantly. And yeah, so Newcastle again, emphatic win, and yeah, long may it continue for the Tunes.
Yeah, moving on to the Everton side of things. They did come off a very, very, very good win against Manchester United at Old Trafford. A man down, and played out of their skin, defensively rock solid. And unfortunately, today you cannot say that. They lost 4-1. Abysmal, to say the least. But Dewsbury Hall did score again.
Dewsbury Hall.
Gary Bonlaw, absolutely gassed. Yeah, but generally, obviously, there's an issue with Everton. A strange one, to say the least, because you can't look so good defensively against Man United with a man down and then just lose 4-1 at home.
They had to turn up against us, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but to be fair, they are doing, okay this season. They're not the worst.
Yeah.
But
I think a lot of teams are doing well.
Result.
Yeah. I think that Everton struggled really badly in that game. Defensively, quiet, shaky. Pickford obviously drops a masterclass in Old Trafford against United, but drops a stinker in his hometown, in his pitch, which makes no fucking sense. But it's football. It happens. A bit salty, but is what it is. And Barry, he needs to be signed to the Baller League. He does nothing for
my
Everton
god, that
whatsoever.
guy is so bad. Like, genuinely so bad.
You kind of feel for him. He did score a goal, but got disallowed.
Well, it's not really a goal, is it? Like, he's played 15 games for Everton. No, threat up front. Not a single goal, no assist, nothing. Just pure. You might as well play with 10 players. I mean,
Pure vibes.
of all the players you want to get sent off for Everton, you send off Barry. You know what I mean? Because he just contributes nothing to the game. So it's just awful. But I thought Iliman Ndiaye was good. Obviously, he's like one of Everton's best players. He's a player that I really like. And Grealish, I thought was a bit quiet, to be honest. You'd expect Grealish to come in and perform well and provide some sort of attacking threat up front, but he was pretty quiet this game, which is not like him this season. Just overall very, very terrible performance from Everton. Especially at home, you expect them to have a good performance at home, but in front of their fans. But they did the opposite of that, and Newcastle's completely dominated, which I have to give props to. And that's what I got to say, really.
Yeah. Again, like you said, fair play Newcastle, because I don't think any of us really expected Newcastle to win by that much.
Not by that much, no.
It's very impressive. I think we'll move on to another game, and that is Tottenham versus Fulham. And Tottenham keep on that terrible home form and lose 2-1. Now, let's talk about Fulham, because they went up by 2 goals very quickly in the game. In the first less than 10 minutes, like 7-8 minutes, they were 2-0 up. And they held on, to be fair to them, which is very, very good on their part. And now they picked up a bit of form, Fulham. We were saying that they were quite bad, but, they're kind of in the race again, kind of around the mid-table position. Again, like I said, they're in that sort of cluster of cluster of teams that are sort of between, the 5-point gap, you know what I mean? Yeah. So again, if they get a set of results in their favour and win, they could be in and amongst it, you know what I mean? What do you guys think?
I definitely. We've talked about it before. They got the team and they got the quality to play. Win these kind of games and be a good team and be up there in the league. And it was just about finding their feet this season. And the last couple of games seems like they have. Obviously, some players like clutching up for them, getting some goals. Harry Wilson. I do really like Harry Wilson, to be fair, as a player.
Oh, that goal was nice as well.
Yeah, it was. I know Vicario's stupid, but there's still a great finish. I know it's an open goal,
great.
But what?
The curl on it was unbelievable. That's finesse shot plus.
Literally. Tete getting a goal as well. I really like Tete as well from Fulham. I've really rated him for Fulham. He's a really good player for them. And they're just starting to find their feet again, which is really good. I know Haas will probably move on to the Tottenham side, but I just want to say, at this rate, Tottenham may as well just give up all their home games and just make them all away games. Because at this rate, they're fucking useless at home, bro. I don't know what's going on, but they're better off just selling the stadium and just playing the rest of their games away, because they're absolutely useless at home. But again, going back to Fulham, hopefully, again, like we said, many teams, hopefully this could be the turnaround for them. Again, obviously Newcastle seem like they're turning around a little. Villa turned around massively, so you never know, they could turn around again. Start, like Carl said, it's very close in from 15th to 5th. So I'll take all it takes is a couple of wins and they're back up in mid-table to fighting for Europe. So you never know, and long may it continue for them. And I'm happy Kudus' goal led to nothing, because fuck him, Judas.
Yeah, you know what it is with Tottenham? I've been seeing that there's a lot of issues in terms of the players. I think Pedro Porro had a problem as well today. Now, you kind of feel for Thomas Frank in the sense that, he thought he could come in and stabilise the team and help. And, obviously had a lot of money to spend and brought in a good amount of players. Not crazy amount, but, a good amount of experienced players. But, hasn't really gone the way we thought. Again, they're another one of those teams that's in that cluster. Again, they can win and get right back in the top 4 race. But at the current moment, with the home form especially, where most teams or almost all the teams are performing very well at home, they are not. do you think that the home form could cost them a potential race for Europe?
100%. I think they've been very poor at home. Usually teams, their strong point is, winning games at home, because that's where you have your fans, you're used to the atmosphere and everything. So that's where, players should be performing at the best. And the fact that they're doing the opposite of that just doesn't make sense. There's clearly something wrong with the team and the players' mindset. I think, there's still some deadwood in the team that needs to go. But obviously, there's still players there that he's a good amount of players that he's bought from last season, or from this season, sorry. So, there's no excuses for the players. I think the players should be good enough to win a lot of games, but they're not doing that, which is more of an internal problem. There's a problem with them, either with the manager or we've seen that in the season how. Two of the senior players, one of them being the captain, disrespecting his own coach. So these players are not, fit to, play for the badge. They're not up to it. Not playing for the manager. Those things in football may not seem like a big deal, but they might lead to things in the future and just unravel the truth. Because obviously that's not a great sign at all. Seeing your players just completely air you and just walk past you. And yeah, it's very disrespectful. Literally, your coach is the one who trusts in you,
Especially
makes you
Jed
start
Spence.
in the team. Yeah, Jed Spence literally got obviously under
Ange never
what's
played.
it called? Ange, he didn't really play at all. So the fact that Thomas Frank has been given a chance, and he's the reason why he got the England call up because of his form and being played more. He's being very ungrateful to his manager, who's had trust in him. So yeah, these players are just not cut enough. I think the doggy's always been better than Spence, but obviously when he was
100%.
injured, they had to rely on Spence. But I think the team needs to get a revamp in the attack, because the attack is, I think, one of the weakest points in Tottenham. They just don't have enough firepower up front to score goals. And they missed a lot of chances that game. And I think the midfield as well is a problem. I don't think they have an attacking-minded midfielder. I think they've got too many defensive midfielders who are just box-to-box. No attacking number 10. Obviously, the injury of James Maddison is what the main problem of this team, because he was a very good player for them. James Maddison was one of the best number 10s in the league when he was playing really well. So obviously when he got that terrible, I think it's an ACL injury, wasn't it? It just cost him his whole season, and obviously is affecting Tottenham to this day. Obviously we do have to talk about Vicario as well. He did cost them a goal, but
Absolutely.
it's all part of football.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but goalies, some goalies always have mistakes here and there, so it's normal, it's part of the game. But I just don't think that justifies how that outfield players played. I don't think they played really well. So it's a shame, but it is what it is.
Yeah, don't know what to say. It's just, we talk about how the players have treated the manager. You feel really bad for Thomas Frank. The guy's come in, he's tried to turn the wheel around, and he's built up some good form. And the players seem to be disrespecting him. It's just it's disgusting, to be honest with you. They forget how bad they were last season, but I guess that Europa League win has made them arrogant. And yeah, that's I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking about it too much, but I think it's a bit disrespectful the way they're treating Thomas Frank. But let's move on to the next game. Next game, Crystal Palace versus Manchester United. Man United come back and win 2-1. I think you should talk about Crystal Palace, because I think Hassan probably will have a bit more to say about Man United. They were 1-0 up, but they did lose the lead, and I'm pretty sure this is their first loss at home in the
they're the undefeated run.
Yeah, a good undefeated run in the league for 12 games or something like that. It was very, very good. And also, a lot of people were saying that obviously Crystal Palace are playing their first season in Europe, and obviously not used to playing the amount of games they have. So they played on Thursday night, and obviously they played Sunday morning. Do you think, obviously, the Europe and the squad depth, because you've talked about it before as well, haven't you, about squad depth being an issue for Crystal Palace, and obviously it looks like that is the case now.
Mate, I just knew it, mate. Look, obviously I didn't actually predict United to win, but I did talk to Carlos before, and I said watch United win this game just because of the way the game was. I just had a feeling. I just don't know. I just had a feeling, and I think maybe it was the depth. It is the depth. You could tell. Even in Europe, they surprisingly they were shit. They missed 2 open goals, which was quite surprising, to be honest, to say the least. Not what you expect from Palace. Look, Strasbourg's not a bad team. It was Strasbourg they played, I'm pretty sure, wasn't it? And yeah, it's not a bad team, to be fair. Chelsea's academy, obviously. So
Pretty much, yeah.
So I've got some good players there. So yeah, again, but obviously, I've said it before, these teams like Palace and Bournemouth and even Brentford and these kind of teams, they lack the depth. And this is the problem. Yes, their first 11, amazing. And when they're on it, can be anyone in the league. But the problem is, because of the lack of depth, and obviously this is the first season for Crystal Palace in Europe, they clearly can't, it's clearly been a bit of a struggle for them. And look, it does, it's only one loss, and you don't want to get ahead of yourself and act like this is it. Oh my God, it's all going to fall apart. Nah, they're probably going to still be, very solid and carry on doing well. And not only did Charles mention it, but even Oliver Glasner himself mentioned it. Said he didn't get the ownership didn't invest enough in the team, and that is what led to the loss, he believes. And if that's what the manager's saying, then most likely that is the problem. And look, if that's the case, playing the same team week in, week out, it's just not going to work. You know what I mean? You have to rotate, and then sometimes that will cost you games. And so unfortunately, I think that's a custom game. But fair play to United.
Yeah, going on to United. Now, Hassan, a lot of fans in the game were sort of flip-flopping. At half-time, end of the world, we're getting relegated. You know what I mean? Second half, come back, some great goals from both Mount and Xerxes, and we're apparently in the title race. Listen, it is progress from United, I would say. When you look at last season, they have shown real progress, and United obviously always have that ability to come back in games, and get a result in any game, really. It's very strange when you compare the last game, Everton, where against 10 men, didn't look like we were going to score for a whole week, to go and score 2 worldies really today. What did you think about the performance in general?
I agree with the fans. I think the first half performance was shocking, to say the least. Like, honestly, one of the worst performances I've seen. Like, we started out really bad. Like, we didn't have much of the ball. We were just passing about. No, attacking threat whatsoever. Just did look like a team that was going to score. Pretty much like a part 2 of the Everton game last week. It was really frustrating watching us play in the first half, which I completely understand from a fan's perspective. But obviously, I did see the second half, and it looked like obviously Amram spoke to the lads. Fix up. We need to work harder, and and they did just that. Which is respect to them. They worked harder, scored the 2 goals. Bruno coming up, with 2 assists just like that. Been our key player for a very long time. But people still want to throw him under the bus, say he's not good enough captain. But when he doesn't play, we're just a shit team. You know what I mean? So I have to obviously give him his props. But obviously Xerxes as well. What a finish, by the way, on his left foot. From that angle as well. I think Henderson could have done better, but I think people were not expecting him. I think the players just weren't expecting him to shoot from that angle with that power and technique. So, credit to someone who's been rusty and not been played much. So, he's been coming to fill in a role from Šeško. So, you can't really blame him for that at all. And Mount as well, nice finish from the layoff from Bruno from the free kick. Obviously, I think Chris Palace could have done better with the wall. I think the wall was very bad from them. Obviously, Dean Henderson was very frustrated with how his team set up the wall, and that's what cost them the goal. So, but, smart thinking from Bruno Fernandes. But I just like to say as well, there's been a lot of people on social media being proper flip-flops, not backing the manager, getting too reactionary at half-time. Look, I know we played really bad. I thought to myself, what, sorry?
I said, tell him, son. Tell him.
Yeah, it's frustrating because I know our team played really bad first half, but I'm not going to go out there and slander the manager. I'll slander the players. Obviously, they're the ones who are playing on the pitch, right? But the manager's doing his best to set up the team well, This is the same starting 11 that he put out in the second half. So he only changed, I think it was... who did he take off? I don't remember who he took off, but he brought Mazraoui.
Mazraoui came on.
Yeah, he brought Mazraoui, and he brought on, I think, who else did he bring on? Menu towards the end and stuff.
He took off Lenny Yoro for Mazraoui.
Yeah,
Alessandro Martinez, as well, happy for his recovery and he's back now. He's going to be key for us in this Amram system. We need that ball playing centre back. We don't really have that right now, so he's going to be very crucial for us. But just like back the manager, guys. You can't like we don't have anyone else right now. There's no better option right now. You got to stick by the manager, see his vision, and see how it goes. Because clearly there is a plan, there is a tactic. Just the players got to live up to it and try harder. Because from what I'm seeing, it's not the tactics. You know, Crystal Palace have been doing really well with the free back system, and that's no excuse for United to not be doing the same. I think the personnel is the issue at United. We don't have the players who are able to play the system, and Amram needs to be backed in the January transfer window. Get his midfielders, get Adam Morton because he completely bossed our midfield in the first half. So yeah, we need a player like him to come and dominate midfield and just make Bruno's job easier so he can play number 10 when Mbeumo or Cunha gets injured. So yeah, but fair play to lads for getting the 2 goals and yeah, credit to them for that.
Yeah, you mentioned about Lisandro Martinez, and it's really good to have him back because, like you say, a ball-playing left-sided centre-back is great. And honestly, I feel like with Luke Shaw, we can make probably better use of him at potentially left wing-back if he...
I agree.
To be fair, he's been playing a lot more games. He's been, he's started... Has he started almost every game this season?
He has started every game. He was really good today as well. Forgot to give him his flowers.
So
he was good today.
At the start of the season, he was pretty bad, but then he's gradually improving. Listen, whether the injuries have stopped him from being able to play at left wing back, I don't know, because I remember the season where he did really, really well. The Euro season, just before the Euros, and everyone called him Roberto Carlos, and he was unbelievable, best left back in the world at the time. I even scored in the Euro final. If we can bring back Luke Shaw to any sort of level that he reached, it'll be very hard because I feel like injuries have affected his career. Obviously, that major first injury, and then he hasn't stopped getting injured since then, really. But let's see if Lisandro Martinez comes back into the defense where Luke Shaw's going to play, because I feel like it's kind of hard to drop him now because he's probably our best defender since the last 2 games. I say that. Yeah. It's kind of hard to drop Luke Shaw. That's all I'm going to say about the game. But moving on to the next one, it is Aston Villa versus Wolves. And not surprised at all, Aston Villa have beaten Wolves. Yeah, moving on to let's go on to the Aston Villa side of things. Expected win, probably not as convincing as we expected, to say the least. But Kamara scored a great goal. Villa have been unbelievable since the first 5 games of the season where I'm pretty sure they're in the relegation zone if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, man.
The comeback is crazy and they're in the top 4 now. Can they get Champions League football again?
Definitely, 100%. The only thing you'd say is obviously it wasn't a convincing win. It was individual brilliance that carried them through the game, but it seems like that is not the first time. Last game it also happened against Leeds, and Morgan Rogers' individual brilliance carrying them through the game. And sometimes that's what you need to be a quality team. You need that individual brilliance to carry you through certain games like that, even games where you expect to win 2-3-0. But look, they're an amazing team. They've turned it around massively, and it's really hard to say whether they if they can if they'll stop losing or not. I think they're just a really good team at the moment, really good form, and we obviously talked about how good the manager is, and he just shown once they found their feet how good they are. And imagine if they just invest in January a bit more as well, how far they can go. Obviously they've had problems with PSR in the past, so if it's a problem again, that could prevent them from signing any key players. But we'd obviously have to wait and see. And fair play to Villa. They're just playing absolutely amazing. And it's good. It's good to see Kamara with a great goal. He's been really good for them this season, to be fair to him. And it just seems like individual brilliance carrying them through another game.
Fair play to Villa. But let's move on to the side who are probably... I think we said it that they could be the worst team in Premier League history, and we had a comment from on YouTube Shorts, and it was saying that Derby could probably be worse than them. At the current rate, Wolves I think are going to smash that record. Obviously, not a record they want to keep or have, but another game without scoring a goal. No pun intended, but what are they missing in the final third? Actually, pun intended. Sorry, yeah.
I think they're just missing the clinical, killer instinct. They're not finishing off goals. You know what I mean? You cannot give the other team chances and just let them get away with chances like this. Obviously, I think Martinez had a very good game, made very good stops. However, Strand Larsen needs to put that away. He missed a very big chance. So yeah, you expect Strand Larsen out of all the players of Wolves to be scoring that. He's your number 9. He's been their best player since last season. I mean, if you don't count Cunha because he's left now, but. You expect Strand Larsen to score that chance, and he didn't. So obviously that changed the game because obviously Villa only scored 1 goal, so that could have got them a point at least. But they didn't score, so obviously it didn't happen. But I think they did try. They had a lot of chances on goal. I think that Wolves were good. They tried. Obviously, I think that's the thing with Wolves. That's the theme of this season. They tried, but it's not enough to, get any points or a win, which is really unfortunate. They're just not at the level of the Premier League. They're clearly at Championship level. Even that, they'll struggle to win games in the Championship, I think. So yeah, it's really, really sad how the season has gone. I think since they've extended that manager's contract, it's been going downhill since then. So yeah, if they had this manager since the start, maybe it could have been different for them. But I think that the team's just not good enough, regardless of what manager you got. So yeah. We'll see how the rest of the season goes for Wolves, but I think that it's going to be a very bleak road ahead of them.
Yeah, agreed. Honestly, you cannot even tell if they're going to get a win this season. Knowing them, they'll probably beat us. So yeah, let's move on to the next game. Yeah, hopefully not, but it's just
United
they did it last season. I could have sworn they did it last season when we played away. And they beat us.
I think so.
Where Cunha scored directly from the corner. I remember that.
Yeah, but that's that. That they don't have that quality anymore, do they? So,
he's joined our team now.
That's true. I mean, it's still directly from a corner. No team should be conceding directly from a corner at any.
So what happens when you have by India?
It was on Arnold at the time, actually. Anyway, both frauds.
Oh, both of them.
Let's move on to the next game, and that is Forest versus Brighton. Brighton won 2-0 away from home. Now, Brighton again. They were on a decent vein of form over the last 2 months. I think the only loss was against Man United, which was quite nice for us. But to play away from home, to get a clean sheet. Surprisingly, Danny Welbeck didn't score because he seems to be scoring all the goals for Brighton. In a close game, they got a very good 2-0 win. What did you guys think of it, though?
Honestly, surprised me. I didn't think they'd win this game. I thought Forest would, at home be able to get a couple goals at least or something, but they clearly didn't do anything at all, or at least not enough to get a result. Fair play to Brighton. Followed the game plan well. Scored the goals and held on. Obviously, we know 2-0 is the most dangerous scoreline in football. But they've managed to win 2-0, and I think it was just on the day, Brighton were just a better team, got the goals that were needed, and Forest just they just surprised me. I thought especially with Murillo back, I thought that would proper solidify the defense. Maybe just going forward with the tactics, it's made Forest struggle to get goals, but you know what? I don't know. Yeah, it's just Forest just weren't good enough. Simple as that, really.
Murillo actually didn't play out.
He didn't play, did he? No, I didn't see the game, to be honest, so I'm just going based off the scoreline at this rate. Yeah,
it's alright, don't worry about it. But obviously, looking at the Forest side of things, flat performance. To be fair, possession-wise, you could say that was quite close, Again, I didn't watch the game myself. No time, we were just a working man, in terms of shots, quite even. It looked on paper in a relatively even game, but you could say maybe the finishing has been a bit of an issue, and I feel like it has been an issue for them a lot of the season, even though they won 3-0 at Anfield. What do you think?
I think that, yes, Forest is just... Wait, we still talk about Forest, right?
Yeah,
because we didn't really cover the Brighton side of things, have we?
Oh, my bad. Sorry, did I say? Yeah. Did I not say Brighton?
No, you talked about Forest.
Anyway, say what you got to say. Say your piece, man.
Regardless, I'll talk about the Brighton side of things. I was not really expecting. I mean, none of us were. I mean, I accidentally predicted the right score, which is great. But I think with Brighton, the issue with Brighton is there's not like a lot of players you could fully rely on. Like I think of Baliba, for example. He didn't start this game, which is interesting, and they won the game. So I feel like the manager's kind of seen how Baliba has been like the problem in the team, because I think since the United game, as we mentioned like many times before, he's not been confident ever since the transfer rumours happened with United. Baliba's just been off it, which is not great for a player who was linked, to United for over £100 million. So yeah, I think that deal was definitely off the table from the United side of things. Maybe other clubs will also follow suit, but I think it's quite embarrassing for Forest to lose at home 2-0 because they're playing at home. We've seen Forest have good performances under Sean Dyche. We were expecting a bit more. Like from the stats, Anderson was the best player, which he's been for most part of the season. He's been a really good player for Forest, but they just lack a bit of clinical finishing.
That's what I was going to say.
I think against like Liverpool, they proved they were clinical, but not consistently enough. I think that in these games, they're not consistent, and they need to be consistent every single game. I think when they had Chris Wood, he was obviously scoring like, I don't know how many goals he scored that season under Nuno, but he was their top scorer, and he was one of the top scorers in the league as well. So they're definitely missing that striker up front. But yeah, in terms of Brighton, we know they're a good team. We know that the manager plays a good style of football. But I think Brighton's issue is just consistency as well. They've not been consistent enough, but they have had very impressive performances. So respect to them.
What are you talking about with consistency?
I was going to say, like, you know what? I have to say something about that because I've obviously talked about the inconsistency. It turns out they're fifth, and they've made me eat my words, and I clearly don't know what I'm talking about with Brighton. Fair play. Obviously, maybe towards the start of the season, it was a bit shaky in terms of this.
That's what I was kind of referring to. Yeah.
But towards the last few games, they've just smashed it out. Fair play to them. And look, obviously, Haas did mention about Murillo not starting, and maybe that was a reason why Forest didn't do so well, because he has been a key player for them when he has played, and obviously even in the Liverpool game, and that's going to be a massive loss for them, because obviously even in the Liverpool game he was a key player in that, and maybe that will end up affecting the way they play, and maybe they'll lose a few games because of that. He's clearly a big loss, but fair play to Brighton. And I think, like Hassan says, I think Forest, now that Chris Wood's not maybe on the form that he was against under Nuno, maybe they're missing that, lethal forward player.
They have a bit of an injury crisis at Forest, I think, as well. They have a lot of players injured, which is part of the reason why they're not doing that well.
Does it? So,
definitely. Well, it's not easy on them, to be fair. Like, if Murillo's injured again, that's very, very, very bad for them. So, they were building up a nice little vein of form. They lost today. I don't think it's panic right now, maybe. But, depending on how the result's looking further down the line, we'll have to wait and see. But we'll move on to the next game, where it probably is time to hit the panic button. West Ham lose 2-0 to Liverpool. I could mention a lot of things I could say, about West Ham, but I just think let Al do his thing.
I just want to start off by saying I wish Paqueta got banned when he was charged. Well, faced with the charges, because at this rate he's a fucking liability. He doesn't do enough, unfortunately, for the team to justify his attitude towards the game. I genuinely, he must had fucking Harvey Specter and Mike Ross as his lawyers, because how the fuck he's gotten away with those charges when it's so clear and obvious that he's doing it on purpose? Because who the fuck, bro, if you watch that red card, like, I'm genuinely in disbelief on what he was doing. He was chasing the ref, screaming in his face, and fair play to the ref, because the ref was genuinely, even though you shit in the game, whatever, but the fact that he was holding back the card for so long, and Paqueta just didn't refuse to give up, and got his red card, like, fair play. I'm not sure how many people had a bet on that back in his hometown, because there must have been a good few, because you know what I mean, with what he was doing.
We should place bets on it now, you never know.
Honestly, at this rate, but I think Nuno's probably going to look at this and probably stop, probably drop him for a good few games. I mean, obviously he's not going to be able to play the next game anyway because he got sent off, but look, it's not just his fault that we lost the game. Of course, I think the biggest problem wasn't even defensively, but was going forward. We just were not clinical enough. We did not take our chance. We didn't have a shot on target, so I'm not even going to say we didn't take our chances. We had no fucking chances because we didn't create any. And yeah, look, I love Bowen, but we can't just rely on Bowen or Wilson. Bowen wasn't good enough this game, and even as a captain in that red card situation, I don't think he did enough. To be honest, I'm not sure who I'd give the captaincy to. But at this rate, as much as I love Bowen, I think he is a great player for us, one of our best players. But I'm not too sure if he's captaincy material at this moment in time.
Areola, maybe?
Areola, 100%, bro. Areola, if it weren't for this sexy man, yeah, I swear we would have been relegated like 2 seasons ago. I swear down. This guy has saved us on multiple occasions. It is unbelievable. Give that man, I don't even know, just give him anything, bro, because this guy has genuinely saved us time and time again and just kept us in games. Again, last season, if it weren't for him, I swear to God, we would have got relegated. And he obviously made an amazing save against Isaac. And I think people don't recognise how good Areola is. He's honestly up there for me as one of the better keepers in the league. And I think he doesn't get his credit just because of the results of West Ham. Carlos, what are you doing, bro? You're fucking pissing me off. I'm not gonna lie, bro. Stop fucking doing that face, bro. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm not in the mood right now. This game was fucking shit.
Well. That's not even about. That's not. It's about what you said to begin with, Arlie. You just called him a sexy man. Like,
he is a sexy man. I don't care, bro, because that guy has done so much for this club, and I love him. Give him the captaincy. But look, going forward, that was where the problems really lie. I think Somerville being injured has clearly shown that going forward, we can't just create enough. Luke's Paquet on the wing, I don't know what's going on with that, but again, it's just not going forward's not enough. And to be honest, I'm not surprised. I predicted Liverpool to win. I said it to the boys. It's gonna happen. They tried to go, nah, you'll get a draw, and everyone was trying to tell me, nah, Liverpool are too bad. Bro, we are the team that when teams are doing bad, we'll give them the win. We are a charity at this rate. We are not a club. We are not a football club. We are a charity who just give out 3 points and goals to anyone that wants it. Simple as that. That's all I have to say.
Hey, it could have been different if you played at Anfield. You never know.
Yeah, sure. Bro, it wouldn't have been different. It would have been even worse. I promise you.
I just say one thing: rage bait successful. Yeah. With West Ham, yeah, there's just a lack of a lot of things. The
fact you let Isak score as well.
Anyway.
Bloody hell.
Ariel tried his best to stop him from scoring, and then the fucking rest of the team just couldn't help him, bro, could they? Fuck's sake,
and Gakpo as well. The guy's missed like the most biggest chances in the league or something.
I mean, going on to the Liverpool side of things, I mean, they got a clean sheet. I mean, Alisson had literally nothing to do. He could have had a cigarette. He could have,
went to Asda, done a shopping.
Could have had a shisha, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Arab, we love our shisha. Yeah, there was obviously no attacking threat from West Ham. Defensively, by the way, I'm not coming at you at all. I'm just stating the facts.
No, defensively, no threat. Like, it wasn't. I know we obviously conceded too, but it genuinely wasn't the biggest problem in the game. It wasn't. It was going forward.
I'd still think obviously that's the biggest problem, but it's obviously still a problem.
No, of course. What I mean? The balance in the team is just not there at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, the only good thing right now about your team, to be fair, we talked about the midfield being so poor at the beginning of the season. That's improved a lot.
Yeah.
But then obviously now the attack's a problem, which it's just, I feel.
But fix one problem,
it's just like
another problem.
Fix one problem, and then literally.
That's the story of my life.
Side of things, the game was actually quite close, I would say. Other than some great saves from Areola, Liverpool didn't really do much. Obviously, they did score goals, and Isak got his first goal. But saw something where like Isak had more shots than he had passes in the game, which is unbelievable. That just shows like
crazy.
I think blame him for that? I don't even know. Is that fair to blame him? I don't know really. But he got his first goal. Gakpo, to be fair, probably been one of Liverpool's best players recently. Got a goal and an assist. But yeah, do you think Liverpool can pick up some form now?
I think it's too early to tell. Obviously, West Ham are a team with their own problems, so it's just problem versus problem, I guess. So it's not really like easy to tell which one of those teams will start picking up form. I know like Liverpool won this game, but it's not really saying much because Liverpool have been very inconsistent this season. Have had very embarrassing losses recently as well. So I don't think one win can change everything just like that. We've seen how they won against Aston Villa and against Real Madrid and how things turned out after that. So I think it'll be too early to tell. You know what I mean? But interesting enough, Joe Gomez starting at right back and playing the whole 90 minutes. Haven't really seen him play for Liverpool recently, but he came with an assist, which is good to see. One senior player was important for Liverpool. Actually doing bits for them. So yeah, like I guess West Ham. Sorry to say it, but just
shit. You don't have to be sorry.
Yeah,
you don't have to.
Yeah, you guys just
don't
didn't.
say too much. We are playing them next.
Bro,
yeah,
we'll talk about that later.
Anything,
We'll talk about that later.
We will talk about that.
Yeah. I don't want to jinx anything, but yeah, just letting Isak score of all people, yeah, that's just not great, is it? But yeah, with Liverpool, you cannot be too sure about what they will do next week. You have to see how it goes, because we've seen how things is basically a repeating cycle. Liverpool wins 1 or 2 games, and after that, everyone's like Liverpool's back, and then they just lose embarrassingly to like a team that they should win against. So yeah, I think it's too early to tell.
Yeah, you guys covered that game very well. Let's move on to the final game of this match week, and it is Chelsea versus Arsenal, game of the week. Probably didn't live up to expectations, if we're honest with ourselves. But if we talk about the Chelsea side of things first, as they were the home team, they got a red card in the first half. Caicedo, big player for them, probably their player of the season. Their best player, to say the least. Obviously, Cole Palmer didn't play today, even though he was on the bench. To get a draw against Arsenal, being a man down, is very impressive, But I will mention one man who probably is one of their best players, and we've discussed him a lot. And if he keeps up the form he's in for the next few years, can be in maybe even the Premier League all-time 11, and that's Reece James. This man is unbelievable at right back. I don't even know if he was playing at right back. He's probably playing at CDM. This guy is versatile. He's strong. He's quick. He can shoot. He's great on the ball. He's got all the tools to reach the very top of the game in terms of his position. What do you guys think of him?
Yeah, obviously we did a hot takes video, and we mentioned discussed the hot take of him being better than prime Kyle Walker, and I agreed with it. And this is why, because bro, when you look at him when he's fit, he has every attribute to be the best right back in Prem history, arguably. Obviously, the biggest problem he's had in his career is his fitness. Now, obviously, he's had a great form of fitness, and touch wood for him. I hope he doesn't get injured, because he's a great player for Chelsea and he's great to watch. And yeah, I just think as long as he stays fit for the rest, for a good long period of time, he can easily, first of all, carry Chelsea to some trophies, maybe to, obviously he's already done that, but to Champions League football, arguably challenge for the title, because now obviously that Arsenal have dropped points against them. So yeah, I know it's a draw, so technically it doesn't really make much of an impact, but still, it just shows that they can win these kind of games, or at least get a result and be a threat, especially with a man down, and not just a man down, but one of their best players, Caicedo, the person that runs their midfield, and they still managed to get a point out of it. I think it's a massive statement from Chelsea. And again, the biggest issue really is just maybe the centre backs and the goalkeeper. Even though goalkeeper, fair play today, he was very good, made some good saves, and fair play to him. But I think he is just a bit, he's a bit of he's not always great, he's a bit inconsistent sometimes. But fair play to him. He does. I think he can be a good keeper, but again, it's just he needs to have a good form, run of form, just keep it up and help Chelsea. But no, I think as long as in January they can maybe invest in some stronger centre backs, I genuinely think they could challenge for the title, not only just get Champions League football, because going forward they are great. Obviously, we talked about the depth they have going forward. It's unbelievable, especially because they're in the Champions League. It's great to have that depth. And obviously, Estevao didn't make the impact you would have been hoping to in this game, but he's still a great player. Obviously, got subbed off, And look, Cole Palmer, the second that guy comes back, oof, it could be wraps for a lot of teams, bro. That's all I'm gonna say. That guy's a hell of a player.
He is a hell of a player. Obviously won him the Club World Cup, which is, first title won by any team, so fair play to them. But going on to the Arsenal side of things, now Arsenal come off the back of a lot of big games in 1 week. They beat Tottenham 4-1, Eze hat-trick. They beat Bayern Munich 3-1, very convincing, I would say. And I guess they would definitely feel a bit deflated from this result, because obviously they've had so many highs this week, so many highs throughout the season. To get a draw in the context of the game with the red card and, needing to win the game to build a bit bigger gap, obviously. With obviously Liverpool and Man City both winning as well. It's definitely going to be a bit heartbreaking, might be the wrong word, but it probably put them down a little bit. Yeah. What do you think about
100%. Yeah, oh, sorry if I cut you off.
No. What do you think about the Arsenal side of things? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think that this will definitely not blow to the momentum or the title winning chance, like hell no. But I think it will kind of ruin the morale a little bit. Obviously, when you're in an Arsenal situation, you want to come and win this game. Obviously, it's a derby, and you are first in the league. You want to win as many games as possible. So the fact that they didn't win this game is gonna, make them feel a bit sad and upset. But it's part of football. You don't win every game. I don't think they played terrible, but I don't think they created enough to, for them to deserve the win. I think when you speak about Reece James, he was a big reason as to why, they didn't, let Arsenal, play really well. He did really well in his job playing as midfielder. Even though they lost Caicedo, who's been one of the best players for Chelsea, Reece James was just immense in the midfield. He just did not allow many of the balls to go past, and he was just great. I think Rice and Zubimendi were very quiet that game. I think Zubimendi got subbed off pretty early on, actually. So, yeah, he usually has good games for Arsenal, but this game not so much. And I think Arsenal's problem is still the attack. I don't think from open play they are dangerous enough. I think they rely too much on set pieces still. I know Arsenal are a very good team, but you need to start creating more chances from open play. I think also Sanchez had a very good game. Made a few good stops, but I think Arsenal should be doing better. I mean, if you're a team that's fighting for the title, you should be winning these games. And they had, 10 men Chelsea especially as well, like that's perfect. He had like 50 odd minutes, 60 odd minutes for you to go and score more than one goal, and for you to not score a goal is a very big miss opportunity. So so from the Arsenal side of things, it is a shame that they didn't win, because with 10 players on the pitch it should be much easier for you to score, but it is what it is. It's just, so it's really hard to say why Arsenal didn't win this game, but I think Chelsea played well with 10 men, and we've seen that theme going on this week with 10 men and last week too. So yeah, not really much to say on that.
Yeah, I would just say that Arsenal obviously had a lot happen this week. They won a lot of big games, but they can have one-off game. It's quite disappointing that it was against Chelsea. Give them a little bit of hope, maybe to get in the title race. But I still think Arsenal are the major favourites. They are still 6 points clear. Still quite a big gap. They'd have to bottle 2 games to at least even be level with anybody else. So yeah, nothing really to worry about for Arsenal, I would say. Maybe just a one-off game. That's at least what they hope. But that's it for the games from this match week. A lot of good games, and that's what we come to expect from the Prem. I think before we get into the predictions, I think we should do the leaderboard now. That's probably the best idea. So the leaderboard would be here. Interesting look at what it's looking like now. I'm pretty sure Al's got on ahead now in the standings. And me is still adrift. Hopefully I can still catch up, but we'll have to wait and see. But before we end the video, let's do the predictions for the next video. As we said, there's not really the schedule is a bit of a weird one, so we'll do our predictions. I'm going to read out the game, and I want you guys to give me your score prediction. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, first game, Bournemouth vs Everton.
3-1 to Bournemouth.
2-1 to Bournemouth.
3-1 to Bournemouth. Fulham vs Man City.
2-1 Man City.
3-1 City.
3-1 City. Newcastle vs Tottenham.
3-1 Newcastle.
2-1 Newcastle.
2-0 Newcastle. Arsenal versus Brentford.
2-0 Arsenal.
2-0 Arsenal.
2-0 Arsenal.
Damn.
Brighton versus Villa.
1-1.
Wait, Brighton vs Villa.
Sorry, Brighton versus Villa. Yeah, sorry, my bad.
2-1.
2-2 for me. Burnley versus Crystal Palace.
2-0 Palace.
3-0 Palace. No, I'm joking. I'm not saying that meme. 3-1. 3-1 to. Yeah, 3-1 to Palace. I know I put Burnley. Yeah. Also for the last game, Aston Villa versus Brighton, I put 2-1 to Brighton. I didn't say to who the score was. So yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna say 3-1 to Palace. Wolves versus Forest.
I said 2-1 Forest.
Yep, 2-1 Forest for me.
2-1 Forest for me.
Hey,
Okay. Leeds versus Chelsea.
3-2 Chelsea, you know.
4-1 Chelsea.
2-1 Chelsea. Liverpool versus Sunderland.
I've gone 2-1 Sunderland.
I've gone for a 2-2 draw.
Fair enough.
I've gone for a 1-1 draw. And this is the last game. Manchester United versus West Ham.
Yeah, I've gone 2-0 United.
Yeah, I've gone for 2-0 United as well.
I've gone 3-1 United. I think just because this is our team, let's have a little talk about it.
Do we have to?
Not
short, like, yeah.
Yeah, short talk, because again, we already discussed both teams, but
Do we have to?
Yeah, we do. Now, since Man United are at home, let's discuss what we think for Man United's sake. I think this is a big opportunity. You know, West Ham aren't very good.
Shit.
And you know what it is? I actually feel like they have some kind of threat. I saw Bowen, right? And I think he's very direct against the left back. Now, if he's playing against Dalot or Dorgu, I think he's got a bit of a field day.
We need Shaw though.
Yeah, I mean, if he does, like, what I'm saying is, I mean, against Dalot, he'll have a bit of a field day.
It's been a while since.
I don't know. Our centre backs are looking a bit dodgy. You know, Callum Wilson might, do something. I don't know. I'm just trying to make.
I think it's a chance. It depends on the chances we make. I'm not sure how long Somerville's out for. We're clearly missing him. I think if Somerville was in the team, he could definitely help create some chances. Honestly, I think Paqueta being gone's better than worse because this guy is just, he's just a liability in the team because he doesn't create enough. Doesn't help enough, and then just gets sent off or gets a foul. It gives a foul away. So I honestly think he is a great player, but honestly, I think just at West Ham, it's just not the club for him. I think if he moves away, maybe. I don't think he even wants to be here anymore. Either that,
we linked to him at some point, weren't we?
No, to be honest, the biggest link was with City, 85 mil. Just wish we could have got that fucking 85 mil. Oh my god, what we could have done with that. Anyway, probably would have spent it wrong because that's just the ownership. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Pensioners up front. Literally. Probably would have spent it on another two, like, fucking free I don't even know. What fuck? Lewandowski from Barca.
I wish, mate. Anyway. But, yeah, no, it's useful.
You know what it is? I'll mention something about Manchester United side of things. I feel like our midfield... I look at the previous two games and how our midfield performed. I feel like West Ham now, their midfield is probably better than ours.
Yeah, Magassa and Potts are looking pretty decent.
I will say Mavropanos is back as well, and I think he was not that bad against... Look, I didn't get to watch the full game, but I saw that he wasn't that bad against Liverpool, per se. So maybe that's a positive, but again, I just have no hope. So
again, let's go back to the midfield. Yeah, I know you cut me off there. Sorry, mate.
My bad.
I know you're not in a good mood, but it's got to be mentioned. I feel like, and this is actually a good thing about West Ham. I would say that obviously the problem before was they didn't have any athletic, young, combative midfielders. Now Potts and Magassa are looking like that potential partnership that can be one that they can grow together. Even with Mateus Fernandes in front of them, against Casemiro, who's lost his legs. Let's be honest. And Bruno Fernandes, who's midfield, he's not a midfielder and he's an attacking midfielder. It could be, a dangerous place for West Ham to attack Man United.
Honestly, if I was going to set up the midfield, I'd probably put because I think Mateus Fernandes is quite good creatively. I'd put him at cam if he's going to play cam, and I'd put Magas and Freddie Potts as the double pivot. I think this would work a bit better to help with the creating chances.
Would you play a left mid or left wing?
Well, we've got look. Unfortunately, Somerville's injured. Paqueta's gone because he's a twat, and realistically, he's the only other choice at this rate. Either he does that, or he puts like Kyle Walker-Peters at left back and Diouf at the left wing. So, look, I think personally I'd rather see a bit more of Guilherme because I feel bad for the kid. I think he genuinely does have something to offer, and I would love to see him a bit more of him. And realistically, does he have a choice now? I feel like you have to surely play him. Either that, or again, he probably goes with Diouf at left wing, which wouldn't be bad because realistically, we've talked about how Diouf defensively isn't great, but going forward offers a lot. So I wouldn't be too mad to see that. I mean, I'm not sure how long Skulls is out for because he had a bad injury, so obviously doesn't really have that option to play at left back, who I thought he's a good left back on, so it's kind of sad to see. But if he was at left back and then Diouf at left wing, I thought that would be pretty good to see.
Yeah, I want to say one thing about United as well. Sorry if I cut you off, Carlos. But I just want to say, I just want to see more consistency from both halves. I don't want to see one good half and one shit half. Like, I'm sick and tired of players just dropping off, or just only showing up in the second half. Like, I want to see a team that fights from minute 0 to minute 90. Like, I'm tired of the team just not putting enough effort, for the whole game. Like, I know this, the whole game you can't put 100% intensity and energy, but I want to see them at least try and have a bit of heart and passion. I didn't see that at all against Crystal Palace in the first half. Only until they got a shouting from Amarim, that's when they started to wake up and play better. So I want to see a bit more consistency, and hopefully they do have a good performance. I want to see them try at least, you know what I mean? Even if we don't win, let's say it was a draw, at least they put in a good performance. If West Ham puts in a good performance, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I've just thought about a meme that was playing in my head. That one meme was like I'm tired, Grandpa. It's like, that's too damn bad. Yeah, that's the one that played in my head. Listen, with Man United, you don't know what you're gonna get. It could be great performance, it could be terrible performance, it could be a game of half and half. You know what I mean? You don't know what you're gonna get with Man United. I think it's probably a chance for West Ham to maybe get a result.
No,
I don't think a chance. So, listen.
We'll
United
see.
At home, okay, they've been okay, but I don't know. It's a strange one. Depending on how they play. If they play the way they played in the second half of Crystal Palace, I don't think there's any hope for West Ham. But that's if we play like that. It just really depends on how Man United play, because it feels like
we'll see.
Again, we will see, but that's what I'm saying. But the predictions are, we all believe that, unfortunately for Al, Man United are going to win that game. So we will see what happens. And that is it for the video, guys. Thank you very much. Al, just if you give us the quiz, please.
Yes, give me 2 seconds. Let me just get the facts up. Okay, first fact is, when he first arrived in Europe, he was signed by Portuguese club Braga, not Atletico Madrid, and made his professional debut there before being loaned out across Portugal and Spain. Second fact, his switch of national teams happened because he was granted Spanish citizenship while recovering from a serious hamstring injury, during which Spain approached him to represent them. Third fact, before his breakout 2013-14 season, he was mostly used as a backup striker to Radamel Falcao at Atletico Madrid, often playing wide or as a second striker. Fourth fact, he once played an entire Champions League match with a protective face mask due to a broken nose, earning a reputation for playing through pain and injuries. And fifth and final fact, he scored twice on his Premier League debut season's first 3 matches, a rare feat, including goals within the first 10 minutes of 2 of those games. So just let us know if you know who that is in the comments, and we'll reveal him in the next episode.
Perfect. Thank you guys for watching the video. Please leave a like, subscribe, turn on your notification bell so you get notified when we upload videos, and we will see you on the next one. Take care, guys.
Take care.
Yeah.